Thank you and welcome, everyone. Appreciate you joining us for our reorg and July board meeting. Mr. Murdoch, you are now live and in person, and it's on video as well, so welcome back.
Okay, thank you.
With that said, just a couple of quick reminders. On the bottom of your screen, we have the mute button. If you move your mouse up to the bottom, you'll notice the little mute. It's a microphone with a line through it. When you click on that, then you can't hear any background noise that on your end, and it helps quiet the meeting for everybody. Next,
I just had a pop-up that says, do I want to close all tabs?
Hey, Bruce, I can see.
Hey, Lori. Yeah, I just got, it says, do I want to close all tabs? It says, run a temporary application. Thanks for using WebEx.
Should I like you minimize the program? So if you go on the startup tray on the bottom, there's the little Cisco icon. It's a little globe. Click on that, and it should bring all of the web meeting up.
Okay, thanks.
okay. So just a quick reminder: you've got your video screen. If you want to step away for a minute or turn it off, you can just click that, and then you can hear me, but you can't see me at this point, and it turns red. The next one over, you have a share content button. That's something Alex actually will have, so that won't affect you. The participant list. The next item is the chat button. And the chat button, for example, right now, when I click it, I have a chat list on the right-hand side of my screen. If you click that, it will allow us to message back and forth, and you can send a message to everybody or to Megan Rabideau. And we had talked about potentially doing that for our board president election if people wanted to vote confidentially. Then there's the 3 buttons, which gives you more options. And lastly is the leave event button. Alex, is there anything else that folks should know? Up in the right corner, you have the Hollywood Squares button, which is a grid view. That's the view I have right now. Then there's the speaker view for whoever is speaking, will be the big screen and with people on the bottom or the top. And then there's a minimize. So Alex, what else should we share in terms of just the actual application of our WebEx for tonight?
I think you covered it.
Okay. All right, Mrs. Rabideau, I think we had said you want to call the meeting to order for us and begin?
Sure. I call the meeting to order at 6:27 p.m. and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I will now do a roll call of our board members. Mr. Barcombe. You'll want to take your mute off now.
Okay.
Yes, I can see him. Grace. I can see her. Drew. Mr. King. No. Can see her. Mr. Harriman.
Here.
Can see Mrs. Rock.
Here.
Thank you. Delaney. Not present. Aaron. McCabe. Yes. Mr. Murdoch. Yes. Ms. Saunders.
Here.
Thank you. Okay. I can see him. Pierre. Mr. Thurber.
Here.
Thanks. Members present.
Did you miss me, Megan? I didn't hear my name called. It's Linda.
And I said that I saw you. Thanks.
There's a lot of background noise. I don't know. It's very difficult to hear right now. Everyone will need to mute. That'll stop all the echoing.
Okay, we have two others in our audience if they'd like to introduce themselves.
Terry Calabrese Gray, CVES.
Eric Bell, CVES.
Thank you.
Alex St. Pierre, CVES.
Oh, sorry, Alex. Sorry. And at this time, we do need 4 of our board members that were voted in for another 3 years. Lisa Boyes, Ed Marin, Tom McCabe, and Bruce Murdoch to take an oath of office. But once we vote on board officers, we can all do it then if that is okay with the board.
Yep.
Okay, so I would open up the floor for nominations for president.
I'd like to nominate Larry Barkham.
I'll second Rick Harriman.
I'd like to nominate Mitch St. Pierre.
Do I have a second on Mitch St. Pierre?
I'll second it.
Aaron? We could just give me a pause for a moment.
He wants to say something.
Yeah, Mr. Barkham, go ahead.
Hear me?
Yep.
Okay. I thought I heard somebody nominate me. I wish not to be nominated again for another year. I appreciate all the. I feel it's time. So I would actually find any nomination for any office in the future. Can you? Sure, everybody can hear me here.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So I don't know where we're at. I'm mixed up here a little as far as who was nominated.
I have a second for Mitch St. Pierre as president. Mr. Barkham has declined the nomination. We'll do a one. Are there any other nominations? 2 times. Are there any other nominations? So at this time, I would like to close the nominations and need a first or a motion and a second.
Motion to close the nominations.
Second, Donna Laura.
All those in favor of Mr. St. Pierre as board president?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
That motion is carried.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Larry. For all your time.
At the time, Mr. St. Pierre, would you like to take over?
I guess if it's appropriate to do so, I will. We're going to need a nomination for vice president.
Nominate Ed Marin.
We need a second.
Second, Linda Gagne Horn.
All those in favor? Oh, wait a minute. We got to call for some more nominations, right? Is there another nomination for vice president? 1. Another nomination? 2. Is there another nomination? 3. Motion to close the nation.
Motion.
Right. All those favor? Opposed?
Aye.
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 Carried. All right. Now we need the election of the board deputy vice president. Need nomination.
I nominate Bruce Murdoch.
Second.
Second it.
Ed. Is there another nomination for deputy vice president? Is there another nomination for vice president, deputy vice president? That's 2. 1 more. Is there a nomination, another nomination for deputy vice president? A motion to close the nominations?
Motion, Linda.
Second? Second by Scott. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carried. Okay, so So when do we want to do these oaths, Megan? Right now? Because I know we have to have them signed later on by at least the board officers anyway. With it.
Right. Yes, I do believe we should all read them, those that are present.
All right.
I think Alex, you were going to share that on the screen.
I have a copy here.
Okay.
So I suppose I should just go first and get.
Yeah, we can all do it together.
Oh, all righty.
Yep.
All right.
So if you want me to repeat the names, I can. Lisa Boys, Ed Marin, Tom McCabe, Bruce Murdoch, and then of course Mr. St. Pierre, and then a repeat of Ed Marin and Bruce Murdoch.
Okay. All right. So you ready? 1, 2, 3, go.
Yes.
I,
Michael Bruce Murdoch, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and I will faithfully discharge
as
the
an
duties
appointed member of the Board of
Board
Cooperative
of Educational Services
to the best of my ability. There. All right, that part's done. So everybody has to. Megan? Who has to have signed by a notary public? Just 4 or 3 officers, or does everybody?
So
Sign it and send it in, or what?
yeah, everybody that I just named would need to would sign and notarize. You can make an appointment with me and I'll meet you in Plattsburgh. I provided a copy in all of your packets so that if you know of a notary, you can go ahead and have them notarize it and you can mail it in to us or drop it off, whatever's more convenient. We just need them back within 30 days.
Sure.
The board office, or the board officer and board member responsibilities need to be notarized, correct?
No, that does not need to be notarized.
Just the oath.
Yes. Thank you so
that-
much, everyone.
That envelope that we've gotten in the mail, we can put it right in that once it's signed and just send it back, right?
Absolutely.
Along with the both of those forms. Okay. All right. So we are ready for an executive session at this point. Need a motion? A motion for executive. Bruce, second. Doug Spilling. All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried. So Mark, I'm going to give us the reasons.
Sure. Mr. President, I'd like to request an executive session it's a number of reasons. A matter of discussion regarding proposed pending or current litigation, a matter of financial employment history of a particular person's about employment, appointment, promotion, demotion, etc. A proposed acquisition, sale, or lease of real property for property related to our satellite campus.
Okay. Mark, I guess you're all set to go.
We need a vote.
Oh, you need a vote. Okay. I thought we did. All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Great. All right. Now, Mark, you're up.
Okay, so Mr. St. Pierre, Mrs. Rabideau, I think you'll be stepping away now. Mr. St. Pierre, are you turning it over to us, or are you just turning it down and letting us go from here?
Yep. All right. So I guess we're ready to do the public hearing on the code of conduct with Mrs. Friedman. There we go. You're up.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for having me. I believe you should be seeing the screen shortly. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, great. So tonight, the public hearing for the Code of Conduct reflects the work of the Code of Conduct Committee. If we can go to the next slide. These are the CVES employees that participated in the revision of the upcoming school year's Code of Conduct. I believe all of you are familiar with this process. Each year, the committee convenes. This year, we had our first meeting in November. We went through line by line with any guidance that we've gotten for required changes. There were not any other than some definitions that needed to be included. This year, the committee looked at the introduction and the definition section, and really looked at flow and making sure that the introduction of the document reflected the core values of the institution to make sure that the document was in line with our core values. So what you'll see in subsequent pages are the change of Bonnie Berry from the 504 compliance officer to Matthew Slattery, who is now our director of special education. One of the larger revisions, as I mentioned previously, was the revised introduction. So what you had received earlier, I'm not going to read this to you. It basically has a better flow. It is grammatically correct. It talks about the philosophies that we embrace as an organization, inclusive of the therapeutic crisis intervention, calm and restorative and trauma-informed practices. And basically, we just revised it so that it was a formidable introduction and updated. Moving forward, the definitions section had been edited so many times previously that it was not in alphabetical order, so that was re-alphabetized. The guidance that we received from our attorney after he reviewed was that as a general rule, we recommend against repeating legal definitions because laws change and is deceptively easy for errors to creep in when the layperson is transcribing all the legal mumbo jumbo. Since all the highlighted terms are defined by education law and regulation, we recommend you delete them. If CVES feels strongly that certain definitions should be kept in, we recommend adding the following heading of the definition section, which is what you see there. And it says, and this was taken word for word by our attorney's recommendation, some of the following definitions are defined by law and regulation and included in the code of conduct for simplicity. To the extent of any definition here differ from legally required definitions, such legal definitions are controlling. So that was one of the major additions to the code of conduct. We added the red flag law, restorative practice, and then we made minor.
Can I interrupt you for a second?
Of course.
At the end of the red flag law, it says from purchasing or possessing any kind of fireman.
Oh, it does. Now, I believe that the sale of firemen have been outlawed for quite some time now.
What's wrong with that?
Thank you so much for seeing that. I'm seeing that now. I believe that I will check the actual code of conduct. This may have been my error in preparing these slides. I assure you, we do not possess any firemen, but that would be firearms. And we we will fix that. Oh, I'm sorry about that, folks. All right, so we will correct that. And the other components were basically grammar, punctuation, etc. So moving forward, we did add to the rights and responsibilities. Although it was implied, we felt it was important to add that student rights and responsibilities include the right to due process. Since there is a whole section in the code of conduct, it just wasn't clearly listed in that section, so that is now included. Moving forward, we have a tendency to revise and add and then re-edit and revise previous components. So leading up to this definition, there were many additions to what constituted electronic devices. And as we move forward into this technological age that we're in, the list just kept getting longer and longer, and we couldn't keep up with it. So therefore, after all of those years of adding to the list, it was recommended that we remove those and just have it read the way it does now, where basically inclusive of media transmissions and as it's listed there. So that has been revised to make that umbrella actually larger. the section was stricken, the third bullet down, as these components were addressed in previous sections about the expectation of all CVES employees embracing and being good stewards of this code of conduct. Moving forward in the student dress code, there were some revisions to make it a little bit more streamlined. The third bullet was stricken with the addition of the last bullet in the indented section where it says uniforms and other safety equipment required for specific programs. So that was a little bit more streamlined. It incorporated both the special education side of the house and the CV Tech specialized programs side of the house. Again, in the changes section for the student dress code, there were some, the second bullet, the sentence about uniforms was stricken because it was repeated in the previous section. And then again, the component about expectations for personnel, because it was not just this section, the entire code of conduct is expected to be embraced by all CVES personnel. Moving forward, some minor changes in prohibited student conduct. Unfortunately, as we have different populations of students, we learned that we have to add some more components to prohibited conduct. One of the most recent additions was the bottom in the addition on 23, or throwing or causing items to be airborne needed to be added, since we've had some experience with that not being outlined explicitly in the code. We did have to remove, at the recommendation of our attorney, the component of defamation, and it was surprising. However, the rationale was, we believe you should not include defamation as a code of conduct issue. You can already discipline a student for making lewd, intimidating, threatening, and harassing, including bullying statements, as well as statements that disrupt the educational process, including undermining the authority of CVES officials. Defamation is a very tricky area of the law, and it does not get you anything you can't already a student for saying. So he recommended that that be removed completely, and so it has been removed. And finally, there were some grammatical and punctuation changes to the existing content, and we just added another heading to clearly identify the student's due process section of the code. As I mentioned before, it's all in there, it's very explicit, but it wasn't listed in the table of contents, and you couldn't easily find it, so we made sure that you can now. And that concludes the work of the committee and the recommendations for the 2021 Code of Conduct to the board.
Does anybody have any questions for Michelle?
Great job, Michelle, you and your team.
Thank you. We were very pleased that we had the majority of this work completed in James Gregory prior to all of the other stuff we had to deal with. So I was very grateful for all of the work that the team did early on to make sure that this was ready. And we may need, moving forward, we may need to add some things, you know, now that we're in a kind of a new world educationally, but for right now, this is compliance.
I have one question. And that was, I understand where they're coming from on the dress code and the wear uniforms. What bothers me is other safety equipment. We don't have to require them to wear safety equipment. All I can think of is the young lady who was placed in roller skates without a proper support mechanism.
We have to require them to wear safety equipment. However, not every program requires safety equipment So you have to make sure that the code of conduct is an umbrella, and for CV Tech, it is absolutely non-negotiable that safety equipment needs to be worn at all times. But in an academic 811, that may not be the case. We're not going to require safety glasses or that type. So when this is reviewed, it's reviewed to make sure that in those situations where safety gear is part of the expectation, this code says that you must do it.
I was thinking more of the needs of the kids.
Well, that would be explicit in their IEPs and with their service providers. This is just saying that the expectation of conduct and decorum is that when you enter the building, if it requires a uniform, if it requires a helmet, if it requires safety glasses, the expectation is that you wear that. And if not, then you're subject to disciplinary consequences. That's what this is. This is our manual of conduct, not necessarily expectation of the educational professionals that are providing instruction. That's not what this is.
So
Thank you.
I'd like to thank Mrs. Friedman and our Code of Conduct Committee. Mrs. Friedman, great job, and in terms of helping bring people together. A lot of this work was done remotely, especially as wrapping up. So, wonderful job with that. So I'd like to just congratulate you and say thank you again, and great job with the presentation. And
thank you so much, and we are really looking forward to Mr. Slattery's arrival on our committee next year. We have some stuff ready for you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Michelle. I guess we're ready to move on. Mr. Davey. So now we're going to do the consent agenda for the reorganizational.
I move that we accept the, yeah.
This is Linda, I second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And it's carried. We're at the opinions and concerns from the audience. Anybody have something to throw in there about technology and how it doesn't work very well today? So, okay, if not, we're going to move on. The capital project update, have we covered that already? Or do you have somewhere to go?
President St. Pierre, we provide a brief update. If we could ask everyone to please remute, for a minute, it'll help with everyone's presentation. So thank you, much better. So we do have a brief presentation for our capital project update. I can't say enough about our construction team, our contractors, Schoolhouse Construction, Mr. Bell and Tetra Tech, who've been working together in the midst of a COVID pandemic to move forward and yet maintain appropriate practices and get the work done. And they're actually ahead of schedule at this point. So I really want the board to be aware that with your support, working with our team, we've been able to move forward successfully and continue to work on the capital project that we had planned and more successfully than we had even hoped for. So Mr. Bell, there are a couple of quick updates that I'm going to turn it over to you for, but I do want to acknowledge that and thank everyone for your support, but also our team for their work.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Davey. It's been a busy month since we've last met in June. A lot of work has been done, and I hope you've been able to enjoy and take in our regular updates we've been providing. We've given, in the last 7 weeks, we've released 7 capital project construction updates, trying to highlight the great progress that's been made. So I'll try to be brief in my comments. If you have questions, I'm happy to elaborate on any topic. At our main campus, demolition has started and is 95% complete at this point in time. There is one hold location that is, we've completed our abatement work at the main campus. However, one wall was found to have vermiculite in it. Therefore, we do have to abate that wall as well. So that's pretty much the 5% left for demo. If you were to walk through our campus, you wouldn't recognize many of the spaces as they are starting to take shape to the design. We have new walls that have gone in, and drywalling is near completion now at this point, and the general contractor is preparing for taping and painting in many of our spaces. The site work, as you drive by our campus, you've seen our new driveway and the pictures we've been sharing. I would just add that curbs have gone this week, have gone in at the new entry, as well as in portions of our parking lot. That is ongoing, as well as landscaping work has commenced. You'll see multiple areas, as called in the drawings, that shrubs have been planted and grading and different things have been done to improve the landscaping of our main campus. The roofing work, all roof work on the main campus has been completed. As far as replacement of the roof, that is done. They are working with the mechanical contractor as well as the plumber to finalize roofing curbs and the roof drains. And then the flashing around the building, we are making a decision on the color of that. We worked with that today. So that will allow them to proceed with finishing up the trim pieces of the roof and prepare on their next venture of our capital project, which I'll touch on at the end. Plumbing work, as Director Friedman knows, since it's right outside of her office at the main campus, they've been very active in demoing all of our bathrooms, including excavating the new sanitary piping. So there's been a significant amount of jackhammering in our building. Luckily, we do not have in-person instruction at this time because it would be severely interrupted. The installation of some of that new sanitary piping has already begun as well. So we're making good progress in our bathroom locations throughout our building. Last thing I'd say about our main campus, we do have a goal of getting our special ed new office space intact very early in August to help give that team a space to coordinate work and prep for the new year. Very similar in our CV Tech office that has been completely demoed as well. We did run into some electrical issues of found electrical in walls that was run through the concrete, as well as some changes in design we're working on that could push that to more later in August, and in potential some long lead items such as doors might leak into September. But again, we've asked the contractors to put a focus on those two spaces as we start to prepare and plan for that new year to give our teams, their new spaces back as soon as possible. At the satellite campus, the south building, where Dr. Davey and Management Services offices are, as well as our south hangar, demolition in the concrete of the hangar space is complete. In preparation for footers for the second floor, that is done. For our addition, the footers and walls are poured, and backfill of the poured walls is complete. So planning next now is pretty soon we'll see the exterior framing to proceed on that building here at the south building. Also, I just want to let the board know that we've taken an approach and a plan. First and foremost, trying to save money in this project is something we always have a strong focus on. One thing we did budget for was reallocation of offices. So in coordination with Dr. Davey and with our construction team, the plan at this time is to work on from the south building hangar space to towards the military turnpike, complete all that work, and then progress into where the district office is and then management services location. Do that work second, in the late, probably around the January timeframe, so we could now move from our current offices into the new spaces so we wouldn't have to rent any facilities. So our construction team, schoolhouse construction, is working on that plan as directed by Dr. Davey, and that is our active goal to eliminate the need for rented office space. So some good cost savings there. Our north building, where we're working on getting, again, preparing for that new school year, Principal Jim McCartney, we're moving him to the north building. His office is a high priority right now, as well as that secure vestibule, counseling office, nurse's office. Get that space done. Drywalling's done there. We're close to taping and painting in that space as well. So great progress has been made on our main capital project. I hope you've been able to take in those construction updates, and you'll see one again later this week. Another item I want to touch on is additional work for this voter approved capital project. The board, you may recall, but when we awarded initial contracts on this project, we did not award alternate number 6. Alternate number 6 was for the special education sloped roof. At that time, there were specific reasons not to. One of them being the price. At that time, it was quoted from A.W. Farrell, which was awarded the project. Their quote for alternate number 6, or their bid, was $510,000 approximately. We believed in looking at the work to be done, there could be value engineering. We can evaluate that roof replacement and try to find to do it a very cost-effective way, but something that will benefit us in the long term. In the immediacy, we're close, like I've mentioned, close to done our roofing work. We have barely touched our roofing allowance for that roofing contractor. So we know that money, or we anticipate that money, a significant portion of our allowance built into that contract will be flowing back to us. So we know we could have a free cash flow there to help fund other parts of our project. The target and one of the ideas that we wanted to address was that special education roof, because we did not award it back in March with the board. So under the direction of Dr. Davey and with our construction team, we progressed with Tetra Tech to value engineer that roof work to find what is the most cost-effective way to do it based on the existing conditions. That was done. A bid was put out there to contractors. We gave them a week to respond. That respond date was today. We did a bid opening outside today at the satellite campus. The weather held out, so we could have proper social distancing. And the 3 bids came in. The low bidder was at $275,000. Again, our original estimate on this work was original bid was $510,000. Our second highest was $339,000, and the third highest was $1.9 million. Luckily, I did not open that one first. So we are making a recommendation, and it's coming from Dr. Davey, myself, Tetra Tech, and Schoolhouse Construction for the board to award this contract to A.W. Farrell at $275,207. It's part of an addendum because we did not know how those bids were going to turn out that were open just this morning. Also, the last piece I would add on this, this work is to be completed by the end of this summer. So as part of the scheduling, get it done now. We do not have summer school. This is something we learned late in the process as well after our March award. We do not have summer school this summer. It's one of the rare opportunities. Again, we do not have students. If we delay, we'd be looking at doing this work next summer, which we're hopeful that we will have the extended school year, summer school in our building. So great opportunity. We want to take advantage of that opportunity. The pricing has come back that it seems right and appropriate, and I highly recommend the board consider that tonight. Last update is on our other mini capital project, our water line. As the board awarded in June, our water line project is commencing with Aguero and Son. They are anticipating starting their work next week. Again, in the push there is to complete that water line portion of our project prior to September, because there will be a period of time where our water has to be shut off at our main campus, tested, shut off, and we're gonna have, we do not want to do that while we have students in the building. So that is planned to commence. Submittals are all approved, ordering was done, and they're planning to commence next week.
And
Eric, has the mechanical units on the main roof been changed yet, or what's the situation with those?
I think you cut out there, but the rooftop units for the HVAC system have been removed. All of them are off. The ones that we're replacing have been removed. The new ones are sitting in our parking lot. So A.W. Farrell is coordinating with J.W. Danforth on replacing those. So they're anticipating doing that this month. So that is ongoing.
And just an acknowledgement, in your transmittal this week, you actually had pictures of the roof units after they've been removed and the new ones in the parking lot. So the before and after. So we're waiting for those to be put forward. I just want to thank Mr. Bell and our construction team. Schoolhouse Construction has been phenomenal, and the contractors as well. I know Mrs. Friedman has been working out of a temporary office. Mr. Slattery's office doesn't exist right now, except that I think in a variety of locations. So thank you with that. But on the other hand, our color committee met today, and I think they're moving forward with that and picking the right colors for us to move forward. So the decision makers were hard at work today in helping pick the right color schemes. And fortunately, I was not involved in that, just so everyone is aware. I completely delegated that responsibility with the full understanding that we had a good team to do that. So thank you to our team. And I know Terry and Michelle and Matt and Eric were all involved with that, as well as other people. And Mrs. Rabideau, I believe, was also scheduled to be part of that. So thank you to everybody who has helped, and all those team members who've made those important decisions and helping us move forward. Good work. Mr. St. Pierre?
Okay, so ready to move on, I believe.
President St. Pierre, could we go back just 1 second, please?
Sure.
With the opinions and concerns, this is for the other Mr. St. Pierre.
Okay.
We mentioned a lot of us had rebooting problems, and you said you pushed things forward, and several people said their computers were on. Do I understand, because I'm a dinosaur, so I'm asking, we have to actually log into the computer to get the updates, right? Just plugging the computer in does not get those updates. So if people think they're plugging in and that's going to do it, that you've got to actually sign into the computer. So this is done prior to the actual meeting. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, it's good just to have them on, logged in, all that kind of stuff. But I was on the back end here. I did find that active hours when you guys were like, oh, it restarted. I was like, maybe I set something at one point, and it was. So the computers were set between 7 a.m. and 4 p.m. that those are active hours and they will not restart by themselves. But outside of that window, the computers would. So I have now changed that time till 10 p.m. So your computer should not restart on its own in that in that time frame. So I apologize for that. But it is good that the updates do happen. But that's not a good time for it to happen when you're trying to do a board meeting. So I apologize, and that setting should take effect like any second now. So
perfect. Good.
Thank you, Alex.
Is there a way that we can, when you log in, that we can push that update so that it's done?
are you saying if you want to do Windows updates? Yes. So if you click on the start button on the bottom left and hit the little gear, it goes to settings and it says Windows updates, and you can just click on install right inside there.
Perfect.
Thank you, sir.
Very good. Okay. Anybody else have a question or anything about that for Alex? Not, we'll move on. We need to approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
Motion.
We have a motion and a second. Oops. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passed. All right. The consent agenda. From A.
Who's the last? Second, Linda.
Need a all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Business budget committee, enclosure 40. What are we doing there?
It says we need action, so I'll make a motion. Second. That was Linda, the first motion.
We need to have the board members that are going to be on that.
Yep. Where we're at. We need that was on last. Want to stay on, or does somebody need to move off? We had Lisa, Tricia, Giro, Lori, Thurber.
Two of those board members are no longer on the WebEx. I just want to make note of that.
What's that?
Two of those board members, Scott Thurber and Pat Giro, are no longer on our WebEx.
Nominate them anyways.
Clever.
Teach them to go away.
Yeah. Let's keep it consistent. Keep it going.
Right back to work.
I'd move that same committee.
Second.
All right. Got it? Okay, so all those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed and carried. All right. Now we need to have the Closure 41, the audit committee, folks.
Same deal.
Same thing. Everybody okay to stay for now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oops.
Motion for the same committee.
Second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, 41.
To modify something.
Motion, motion, Donald Rock.
Oh, we need to adjust on this one on the addendum.
What's that?
An addendum for 15F.
Yeah, that's the temporary rate change.
Oh, okay, we're on F here.
Are we on 15A?
Well, it's a consent agenda, so we need to
A through
modify
F.
it.
Okay.
Gotcha.
I see what happened there. Yeah, there is a change on that. 15F. $14 instead of $11.80. 2019, 2020.
Do we have a motion for that?
Second.
Motion.
Okay.
It's the second.
All those in favor? Opposed, and it's carried. Okay, now we are on the Essex County School Boards. I believe I was the one last time, which I'm okay. What else is on there? 48. Whoops. Oh, Linda.
You and Linda.
Linda, you don't want to do that? Nope. I didn't hear you. You're muted.
Yes, please.
Okay. Motion for enclosure 48. Motion. A second.
Right here, please.
All right. Those in favor?
Aye.
Great. Voting delegate for New York School Boards Convention, enclosure 49.
Well, let me tell you guys, I'm not going to New York City this year, even if they have a convention. Sorry.
I'll do it again.
Do it again? All right.
So I'm assuming that they'll have some kind of remote. So Mr. Harriman, if it's remote, would you be willing to be the delegate?
I think Mr. Merritt said he would.
He's our
Alternate.
Yeah, if it's remote, I can do it.
Harriman's usually the alternate.
Right. If it's remote, I will do it.
All right. Case scenario, you count. All right. So, motion 49. Do we have a motion and a second?
Motion.
Second.
Favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And it's passed. Okay. Oh, legislative liaison. Last time was Linda.
I'm willing to continue unless someone else wants it.
Oh, motion for Linda.
Second for Linda. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. 51. Let's see where we're at here. Transportation Cooperative Agreement Resolution.
Motion. Rock.
Second.
Favor? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
And Mr. St. Pierre, if I could just join in for 1 minute, and thank you for your board's support of that. It's in support of all of our component districts as well. And typically, as attend our programs, and they have sporting events or need to ride the buses. For example, in one district, event in another, they actually ride on the component district's bus where the event is, so the team members stay. It is something that all of our districts have participated in and continue to do so. It's an annual reapproval, so we thank you for that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. Exposure 52, recommend the board recertify following program.
Motion.
Aye.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
And it's carried. 3, recommend the board approve updates, names, titles, numbers. For
Motion, Linda.
For the safety plan.
Bruce.
In favor?
Aye.
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 All right.
Hey, Pierre, can I just weigh in for one more second?
Oh, and it,
I would like, please, to just acknowledge under the previous approval item number 52, just for our career and technical programs, early childhood education, marine technology, and welding. Mrs. Friedman, our CV Tech staff and administrators have done a phenomenal job keeping your curriculum up to date, assessments in line, the articulation agreements in place, and advisory groups that work very closely. I know in the Marine Tech program, there's a strong group that supports that, especially at the campus. We have the program in Plattsburgh as well. Our early childhood program is phenomenal. Our staff member has been on I believe, the Board of Regents Early Education Committee. And welding, we have a state-of-the-art, nationally recognized teacher who's been 2 years in a row nominated for one of the best teachers in the country. So I just want to offer a special acknowledgement for our CV Tech program and their reaccreditation. It shows the quality of our programs as well as the quality of our staff and our graduates. So thank you for allowing us to have that approval. Mrs. Congratulations.
okay. Now, we'll move on to enclosure 54, adopting revised policy.
Move, Linda.
Second, Donna.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carried. That's good. Okay, 55. See, that's just on 55. Can move on. And 56. Hold on here. That's another no action.
Yep.
Member signature. You already have that to sign, right?
Yep.
Okay, so that's covered. We do have some new business. Hold on there. I'm going to start with 17A. Does anybody else have this information?
Yes. It's in the email today.
Yeah, okay. So Ed, did you want to jump in and do like what I was doing on some of this?
Whatever works for you.
Well, you might as well get your feet wet. Go ahead if you've got it. If you've got
17A. So new enclosure for 17A is to add, recommended the board approve the following contract consultant agreement. Is between Clinton Essex Warren, Washington Bosees, and Galen Bigelow for the purpose of obtaining medical director services and consulting services at Yandon Dillon Plattsburgh Marine Campus, a satellite campus to assist in staff planning, developing, and implementing a sound school.
Motion.
Thank you.
Second, Linda.
Making me suffer on that one, aren't you? All right.
Opposed? Carried.
Okay.
Next.
Number 17B. For approve the following bid award, selecting roofing work for 2020 capital improvement.
Motion, Donna.
Great deal. Aye.
Aye.
17C. Recommended the board approve the following amendment, non-elective employer contributions amendment to Clinton Essex Warren Washington Bosees 403B retirement plan. Administrator by Tony on behalf of Bosees, effective July 1st, 2020.
Motion by?
Motion, Donna.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carried.
17D. Recommended the board grant the permanent employment civil service to the following persons: Martha Levine, account clerk typist, effective August 19, 2020.
Motion.
Second.
Opposed? Carried.
Aye.
Aye. All right. 17E, recommend the board approve the following 2020-2021 special education summer school staffing additions, speech language pathologist at $40 an hour, Tara Forkey.
Motion by Bruce.
Second, Linda.
A motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
17F, add, recommend the board approve the following 2020 summer work. Summer auto body technician, $50 an hour, Thomas Tedford, not to exceed 60 hours. Summer nutrition, $50 an hour. Frederick Johnson, not to exceed 124 hours. Program reapproval curriculum hourly rate per contract. Thomas Rodriguez, not to exceed 12 hours.
Second, Linda.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Recommend that the board approve the employment agreement between CEWWW Board of Cooperative Education Services and Hollis Palmer as presented in the attached.
Motion.
Second, Donna.
In a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
This is a big one. Move that the motion of Ms. LaRoque, seconded by Ms. Danya Horn at the June 10th, 2020 board meeting to extend the district contract be amended to include all the following: extension of one of the additional year salary increase 3% to 2020.
Motion, Donna.
Second.
Second, Linda.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Great, all there. Congratulations there, Dr. Davy. You're back in business.
Thank you so
You're
much.
stuck with us for an additional year.
Thank you.
Another year on the books. But I believe that's it, right?
That's it. That's it.
So, Dr. Davy, I believe the strategic plan update is your next gig here.
Sure. And maybe it might help just to mute everyone, and that so we can, I'll try to be brief, but also share my updates. Thank you. With that said, the first item, and you have an email which was sent out, which also is included in the folder for the district superintendent's update. For graduations and celebrations, I can't say enough thank you and congratulations to our directors and our teams from CV Tech, both Mineville and in Plattsburgh, as well as special education, William A. Fritz, and in Mineville as well, for pulling together and bringing celebrations to a new level when done virtually and remotely, and drive-by graduations, and even a small in person. It's been an unbelievable year in so many ways, but it's also been a phenomenal year to see what we can do, and to see all of our staff weigh in and give a personal update and really celebrate the graduations as well virtually. So it was amazing. So I really want to offer our thank you and congratulations to our team and to the board for your support throughout this as well. Can't say enough for that. With that said, I want to also offer a congratulations and thank you as well in both directions. We do have a congratulations for a new board president tonight. Mr. St. Pierre, you've been vice president for many years on the BOCES board, and you have been nominated and accepted and been approved as the board president. Congratulations on that. I would be remiss. So thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
And
appreciate the vote of confidence.
I'd like to acknowledge our former board president, who served as the BOCES board president 23 years in that role, and 28 years as a board member, and he has chosen to remain on the board. But congratulations, Mr. Barkham, for your wonderful service, and we want to recognize you.
Oh, he's muted. All right.
Oh, Alex.
Can't hear him.
Larry, bring your microphone down. It's up by your head. Your yeah, there you go. Swing it down. Now you're good. Now start.
Nope. Still muted. Huh. Something's not right.
It's not showing.
Yeah. Oh, he's back muted again.
Yeah, but it's not. You can try again, but it's not. Larry?
Go ahead, Mr. Barkham.
Oh, there's the mute button.
Try again. No.
Yeah. Sorry, we've had a problem. But we thank Mr. Barkham, and maybe next month you can share your kudos. I also like to acknowledge we have a new vice president, Mr. Marin. You've been you're vice president at the board, I believe, in Beekmantown as well. So being vice president here and nominated and accepting and being voted in, congratulations. Look forward to serving with you in that new role. So congratulations and thank you for your service. And Mr. Murdoch, thank you as well for so congratulations, Mr. Marin.
Thank you.
On that. And then Mr. Murdoch, thank you as well for continuing to serve as the Deputy Vice President. So it's just appreciated. Thank you. And I believe now Mr. Murdoch, are you also president in Schroon Lake again this year?
Yep.
Okay.
This will make 19 years.
Great.
Yeah.
Congratulations. And I know that we have other board members as well who are board officers in Plattsburgh and Keene and so on and so forth. So we thank you for your service on both boards and especially on our BOCES board. So Mrs. Boyce and Mr. McCabe, who I'm not sure if is also an officer, I believe, as well. So with that said, moving forward, there is an acknowledgement for the returning to in-person meetings. That's our hope for August. Our plan would be to be in Plattsburgh, to be socially distanced and offer, we hope, a remote meeting sign-in. I will an opportunity for that. I will share the governor did extend our remote meeting executive order through the 6th of August. So we were fine having this meeting and not having each of your houses approved as a location. But with that said, we are hopeful that we will continue to be able to have our meetings back in person, assuming the regulations and the health conditions are correct. We will be looking at options. Traditionally, there's a light refreshments about whether we could have individual meals or just eliminate the meals completely for now. We'll work with the board on that to try to make the best accommodation possible as we do work to implement that.
Yeah.
Will masks be provided, Dr. Davy?
Yeah, yes, we can absolutely have masks in place for everyone as well. And any other social, in addition to social distancing, any other accommodations that we believe will be helpful, we will be happy to put in place as well. But our number one goal would be to have everyone be safe, run an effective meeting, but also be safe as the first priority.
Yep.
Okay. Moving forward, the NISBA fall meeting right now, and I know Mr. Marin, I think there's still discussions about what that's going to look like. I don't know if you want to weigh in, Mr. Marin, at all. You've been involved in this conversation. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, essentially, we're not going to know anything until later on this month. You were involved in, Terry, some of the people here were involved in the regional task force. So it looks like, state ed's giving some recommendations to regions, board regions, July 13th. And then just like Megan handed out, I think, in your update then, right? So we have the 13th is the other one date, and then the 31st plans are submitted.
Right.
So that only gives a week for decisions and reopening.
So we can say that the governor and the state education department will be able to look very effectively and quickly at 700 plans. But with that said, there was on the back of your district superintendent's update several pictures for you to look at. That was announced today by the governor. So we do thank the governor for his leadership, the health departments for working on this as well. And it is expected that there will be information coming forward from state ed as these regulations and guidelines come out. I can share with you that with that said, we've been working with our chief school officers on really an outline of what these plans would look like. We do acknowledge that the governor and the health departments and state ed will give us guidance. Then we're going to be able to then work on creating these internally to be able to allow all the school districts to have some similar approaches, but also be able to tailor them individually to each district. So we are working with them. We're also working internally at CVES to bring back our own support, our own staff, our 12-month support staff, and have those folks in place following all the COVID-19 restrictions and guidelines to make sure that we can reopen internally and have people doing their jobs as we look at reopening in the fall. I can share with you that the plan essentially at this point has been recommended by the commissioner, who said districts should start working on a full student return, B, a blended student return where there's maybe some students in and other students at home, and C, a complete remote only option. did send out to the board that New York City did send out a notice to parents and said they are allowing parents to opt in to remote only now themselves. So we do believe that that may be an option that parents may have. And I know one of our districts, Mr. Mayor, I think Beekmantown recently did a survey, and it's between 25%, I believe, of the results. Parents are either A, committed 2%, saying they want to keep their children home, or another percent waiting to see. So that is something that's going to be, we think there's going to be those options. And Mr. Marin, I don't know if you want to weigh in at all. I know that Mr. Mannix did put together a survey for that, but
it follows up. It just follows the one that we did previously. But again, we don't know. Basically, the parents are concerned that there is one. We need to have some guidance, and this changes on a weekly basis. So until we know exactly where we stand this week, compared to some of the other states, we're doing pretty well, but that can change.
I didn't catch the percentage, Dr. Davy. The percentage of parents that want their children to stay out of school?
What was shared today was approximately of all the parents that responded pretty quickly, 10% said they thought they would want to keep their children home.
10%.
10%.
Okay. I saw the governor's talk. Unfortunately, Spectrum cut out most of the questions, but there seemed to be an indication that he might be, instead of a statewide opening, he may go by regions, just like the businesses did. So I would think if he goes by regions and we have the plans in place, that we should be pretty good to go. But again, I can understand why parents would want their children to stay home until we know this is over.
That's only the ones that said no, but there's a big portion of people that said we don't know until the day comes.
And that's why the governor made the plan so late. He's like, we will know when we know what's happening. He's very cautious as far as not putting these children and lives in jeopardy.
Agreed.
Mark, I saw an email today that said New York City had decided to go with the blended approach. So I don't know if there's different boroughs are taking different approaches, but I know in Queens, they said they were going to use a blended classroom.
Right.
Yeah, except I'm going to say what he said before, and he got into this at the beginning. It's the governor who decides, and whether Mr. Blasio wants to do whatever, it is the governor who has the final say. If he decides nobody opens, then no one will, even though, and again, because he was actually pointedly asked about the New York City plan and kept getting asked, and he's like, they can submit the plan to me, and we'll see on August, what would we decide to do.
I think a really big driver.
Sorry?
Well, a really big driver in all these conversations has been, at least for us, has been that we are looking at reopening under a stricter financial place and with stricter finances. And then are we going to have to go out and buy all of these sanitation and components, right? So people may be looking at the hybrid because it might give them an opportunity to balance out their finances.
Right. And
they sent this email to the parents of students who are going to start school in September, indicating to them that it was going to be blended. And they didn't defer to the governor or anybody else. They sent this email to parents.
Right. Right.
I think also one of the things they have to look at is come the fall, we could very realistically looking at another wave, especially as we start to reopen. And we kind of take a couple of steps forward, one step back. Department of Corrections we're starting to draft people in from around the state. It has stopped again. So Department of Corrections is now drafting any inmates from facility to facility anymore. We had started again for the last month and they have stopped. So in certain places, we're taking a couple steps forward and one step back. And I think that's probably what you're going to see for a while.
Right. And the other comment, I know Mr. McCabe did mention about the blended approach. That's one of the options that the commissioner has asked our school to work on to develop. So in-person completely, a blended model, and fully remote. So with that being said, the one suggestion that I've made with the district superintendent, as well as even our task force, is that we allow as much local control as possible so that there could be nimbleness, and depending on the needs of each district, we are then able to work with our local health departments. For example, in one of our districts, Ticonderoga, may be in a totally different place than Northeastern Clinton. And you think of the distance between the school districts and so on and so forth, that I think there's going to need to be some flexibility, although there may be similar designs and plans, but I think that nimbleness may be very important. And with that being said, meaning we can make the best decision for our students, and our component districts can make likewise with cooperation of our health departments, and the board then can weigh in and on that decision as well. So I do think there's going to be that important step, and the commissioner has indicated that there has been feedback that there will be local responsibility to help implement these plans and to make decisions that are appropriate for those levels. So with that being said, we will keep you updated given the timelines and the pictures as that were shared today with the governor. There are the 3 slides and the dates, Mr. Mayor, that you were referencing. So we will keep you up to date and informed. So thank you for that.
Mark,
go ahead,
just a piece of information. I was talking with a doctor today, and she said if kids go back to school, she said they need to be there. Don't get her wrong. But what will happen if some student gets the virus and dies? What is this going to do to the kids? So that's something that maybe they want to take into account as well.
So, and Mr. Harriman, that leads us directly into the next phase, is the idea about our goal planning, because one of the big aspects that we're also talking about is, as we're looking at this, not only do we have to look at the health and safety and having our staff, because we may have older staff members who are in high risk groups and so on. We may have some staff members who are unable to return or become ill during the year. And some of our smaller districts, if you only have 1 or 2 first grade teachers or second grade teachers and they're all sick at the same time, how are you going to then adjust? And the same thing could happen in any of our districts. So we're trying to work and we were talking today about some collective support for each other. So we're trying to consider those options as we start talking and working on our planning. With that said, we also acknowledge, Mr. Harriman, the importance of the social emotional, because that's going to be one of our goals in the coming year. We understand, think of your students and your staff. This has been a very scary time, and there's not a concrete answer as we go forward. So we are going to be very cognizant of this. There has been an increase in the amount of support needed with our students. I know each of your districts, you recognize that as well. But that's one of our goals for moving forward with the 2021 school year. Not only do we have our strategic plan, but we want to infuse that part of our support and safety net to really provide as much support as possible. That also aligns with our equity, inclusion, and acceptance, and trying to provide professional development and support for our students and our district and BOCES as well. I know many of the districts have started to have conversations as well. Some of you have been looking at policies. Terry has been having conversations with Calabrese Gray, with Michelle Cromwell at SUNY Plattsburgh. They've already been talking about some programs that we could offer collectively and offer that. Terry, I don't know if you just want to give us a quick update about the focus of your conversations thus far, and then I will wrap up. Terry?
Yes, we're looking at a series about inclusivity. We're not going to necessarily just focus on one thing. We're going to try to focus on how do we make our schools a welcoming place for students and for families who may look different or may have a disability or may have just doesn't look the same. And I said, we all know it's evident. If you read the paper this morning, I was very disheartened to read the article about the biracial woman who drove her car down a road and a man started running after her and saying things that were very disparaging. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm just so ashamed that, you know, these people, why do they have to experience these things? And it's right in our backyard, and that's a problem. So whatever we can do to help educate our, you know, adults as well as help our students understand, you know, that whole thing with empathy and just really understanding we're all here, we're different, but our differences actually make us stronger. And so we had some great conversations. She has lots of excellent research that she shared with me, and she's mentioning the same national people as I'm mentioning. So we're looking at possibly like a series to kick off in August with our administrators and then start bringing on teachers and then getting even down to students. So just I think it's a great plan to start. It's not definitive yet. We had a brainstorming session. We're meeting again next Friday, and we're going to continue these conversations. We're trying to make it just so that, like, I mean, because there are students who, you know, are new to a community and they walk into school and it's just like, it already starts with kids, you know, either what they're wearing or what they're, you know, what they look like. All those things already happen. And we're just like, we need to do a better job. Like your statement, it's like, we all can do better. So that's going to be our approach. And I'm excited about it because I think it's something that is needed. And for some reason, instead of getting better, we've actually gotten worse as a nation, which is concerning, I think. When you look at some of these things that are around the country to, you know, individuals who were, some of them were born in this country and still are treated wrongly, which, you know, not even if it matters if they were born here, but it's just like, why do people do what they do and say what they say? And, you know, it's just, why do people have to take sides? Can't we be us instead of them? And you know what I mean? It's just, it's so divided right now. So it's really talking about how we bring people together. So that's our goal. And we're also working with Molly Kennedy at Orchard Park in Buffalo area, and she's going to help us more with the SEL piece and teacher and student leadership, and really talking about, you know, what you're feeling is okay, but how do we help each other, support each other, and then what activities can we engage our students in the first few weeks of school, because we shouldn't be talking academics the first time we see them. We got to start talking about building relationships, so that if we were to have to go to remote or whatever, those relationships are in place. The students feel comfortable. They know we care. They know they're safe. We're doing everything we can to make sure this will be a successful year, just like hopefully like a lot of other years. So it's like, how do we do that with our students and have those just conversations? It's okay to be anxious. It's okay. That's okay. But how we deal with it, you know, is important. So anyway, we're going to talk about that too. So.
Okay, thank you, Terry. Okay, thank you. And one final under the last category, and that is I want to offer a special congratulations to our special education principal, Miss Jennifer Christensen. You just acknowledged that she is going to retire and resign from us. So she's been principal with us for 3 years in the special education division, brought a lot of strengths, strong curriculum, a lot of experience in one of our component districts, served us well, and we want to wish her well. She helped us make strive in academic improvement in our planning, in our work together, and our depth of knowledge with the curriculum. And so we will be working with our special ed division management services to recruit a new, that's underway now, to recruit a new principal, and we will have our staff weighing in that process as well. So we want to thank her and wish her well in her retirement. And we'll be moving forward to bring in a new administrator, and Mr. Slattery will be helping, you know, train and work with that new hire and new administrator. So there will be the regular process for that with committees, cabinet, and then superintendent interview moving forward. So that's it, Mr. St. Pierre, for my superintendent's update.
Mitch, if you're okay, can I say a few things? okay if I speak now since we're on other?
Oh, sure.
I just want to say a couple of thank yous to make sure that people get recognition for the extra service that they do. And one of them is definitely Megan and Alex. You guys are both here all the time during these virtual meetings, and God knows we've had to use you every single meeting to help unbury one of us or the other. So really, thank you for all of your extra hard work to keep us all put together and moving forward. It really does make a difference. Two, congratulations to our new president, Mitch. Congratulations on your new position. To Mr. Marin on your new position as well as VP. And
thank you.
Mr. on your continued, in your current position and your continued support going forward. All three of you, we all know being in those positions is challenging. So thank you for doing that. A special thank you to Mr. Barco. Your continued support, your dedication, your love, your compassion for the board has been there for so long. And we truly appreciate all of your time spent as the board president, but also just as your board member. It really does make a difference when you have someone that has the longevity that you've had and for your support moving forward. Great job with your presentation tonight, Ms. Friedman. You did an excellent job. And a great kudos to your team for putting together such a incredible presentation. So, and 5, thank you to Eric and to Dr. Davey for your weekly, daily updates. They really do make a difference. It's nice to know what's going on when we really, there's so many things that are going on anyways, but for you to continue to update us on everything that's very, very important to CVES, it really makes a difference when we can really find out on a daily basis or on a weekly basis what's going on within CVES. So thank you. And last but not least, save this one for the best. A special thank you to everyone who was involved with all of the graduations. I watched them all, and it was an incredible job done by every piece of staff that was involved with that was exceptional. They really did an incredible job. From just recognizing the students to the professionalism done by everyone, I just got to give you a great big kudos because you all did exceptional. So, I just want to say during a challenging time, we couldn't have asked for a better presentation by any of them. I mean, you guys did just amazing. I just wanted you all to know that you did an amazing job. So with that being said, I am done.
Thank you, Lisa. Appreciate the comments. Okay. Anybody else would like to say anything? Bruce?
I do a motion to adjourn.
Oh, wow, yeah, that works. Got a second?
I'll second Rick Harriman here.
All righty. Oh, let's see. All right. In favor? Opposed? Carried. I just wanted to ask Megan something really quick. Do you have stuff for me to sign like Larry does?
Oh yeah, you're not off the hook that easy. We'll be mailing them to you.
You're going to get writer's cramp.
Yep. All right. Well,
be safe, everyone.
And,
Okay.
Bye, everyone.
We'll see you.
Good night.
We'll see them soon in the mail.